Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sugar Mama's Fireplay. I am your host, financial planner, CANNA Campbell, and today's episode is a little bit different. I want to share with you a fun challenge that I did that cost absolutely nothing, but really has had quite an impact in my life. Even Tom, who's my biggest fan, but also my biggest critic, has said this has been quite transformational, and I am inclined to agree. Some habits, some attitudes, some lifestyle choices have really shifted and changed for the better in my life. And I want to share with you exactly what I did, why, and also share with you why I'm going to do it all over again and invite you to join me. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the 75 challenge, which you may have seen me post sporadically on my Instagram account, CANNA Campbell Official, as well as obviously the Sugar Mama Instagram account. I'm going to go back a bit and explain, first of all, what the 75 challenge is, and it's often known as 75 hard. So this is a transformative mental toughness challenge, it's called, and it was created by a guy called Andy Frisell, and it is designed to help you develop certain areas in your life or characteristics that you lack and to change them for the better and to make long-term change. Now, with 75 hard, it is something, your sort of 5 or 6 rules that you follow every single day. And you have to do it for 75 days straight. Now, if you skip one of those 5 rules or break one of those 5 rules during the 75 hard challenge, you're supposed to go back to day 1 and start all over again. But here are the rules that you're supposed to follow for hard 75. And that is, you stick to one diet of your choice. You drink no alcohol. You have to exercise twice a day, with each exercise being a minimum of 45 minutes, and one of those exercises has to be actually performed outside in the sunlight, in the elements, in the fresh air. You also have to drink 4.5 litres of water, and you have to take a daily photograph, and you have to read at least 10 pages of non-fiction, and some people say you also have to do 10 minutes of journaling. Now, you do come out the other side as a different person. And as Andy Frisell, the founder of this challenge, he says you'll come out a far more disciplined person and someone very, very different. Now, I didn't do hard 75. I did, you could say, soft 75. I created my own rules because I knew that hard 75 was completely unrealistic for me, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I knew that I didn't have the time to be exercising twice a day, each time for 45 minutes. I'm not someone who has a problem with alcohol. I enjoy the occasional glass of champagne, but it just, to me, quitting alcohol for 75 days didn't really add any value. And I also, I drink a lot of water anyway, so I didn't really see the point of the 4.5 litres, and to me that seemed a bit excessive. But I really wanted to do something like this. I was feeling a little bit lost. I wanted something to sink my teeth in and to give me a point of focus, and I guess I was curious to see what was this all about. It's quite a viral trend at the moment on social media, and actually my au pair, who's living this at the moment, she was doing it, and I was seeing I was really inspired by her. So I decided to jump on this bandwagon, and I actually wanted to do it, but I wanted to keep it realistic. So I actually created my own rules, and these are the rules that I did for my version of 75. So I did 6 workouts per week for a minimum of 35 minutes. I journaled every morning for at least 10 minutes. I also used this as an opportunity to get things done that I'd been putting off or had blocks around for the last 6 to 9 months, including the Jamie Ryder Rising Phoenix Mindset Program. So I agreed, okay, if I'm going to do 75, I'm going to make sure I do at least, 10 minutes a day of this particular program and aim to try and finish it. I also read for at least 10 minutes every morning, and at least 10 pages of nonfiction. And I pretty much did this. And I also, as I finished the Jamie Ryder program, which I successfully completed within the 75 days, I shifted that to some goal-setting manifestation work. Now, what I also did was, I would say I stuck to this, honestly, I reckon about 87% of the time. And for days where, for example, maybe I did only 5 workouts instead of 6 workouts for the week, I made sure that when I did do workouts, I trained for 45 minutes instead of 35, so I could make up for those days that I lost. And there are plenty of days also where I read for more than 10 minutes, or I read more than 10 pages. And there were days where I definitely journaled for a lot longer. Now, one of the ways that I stuck to this, and I'm actually surprised as to how easy for me it was to stick to. I got out of bed, which I do every day normally at 5 a.m., but I did a couple of things before I went to bed to make sure that I would hit the ground running and not get distracted and jump on my phone or, have a conversation with Tom. So I actually left my notebook and pen out on the sofa, so the moment I sat down on the sofa, I could immediately start journaling. I also scheduled in my diary as to when I was going to do the exercises, like what worked with the kids' routine, when I'd have a quick break to myself to pop down to the gym, or where, how was I going to efficiently ensure that I got that 35 minutes of exercise. And I found that, I would actually go and take the dogs for a walk and walk past some of the outdoor gyms and just stop there for 35 minutes and do a whole pile of exercise while the dogs were running around. And, I would also put my book that I was reading at the time, also next to the journal. So the moment I finished the journal, I would go straight to my book. And I also spoke about this. I think putting it out on social media it obviously makes you accountable. It does put a little bit of pressure on yourself because you really want to maintain it. And I also left my exercise gear out. So, I'd get straight into my exercise gear. So I'd be ready to do some sort of exercise while thinking, oh gosh, it's cold. I don't want to have to change my warm clothes, strip down and put on my exercise gear. And I think, talking about it to other people and really paying attention to how I felt after doing exercise, how I felt after journaling, it really actually made me realize how powerful this is and how much I'm learning about myself and how I'm actually evolving. So for me, it actually wasn't hard to stick to. I will admit, though, I didn't follow the rule of if I missed or didn't successfully complete each day, I didn't punish myself by going back to day one. I just continued on, pushed on, and as I said, I tried to make it up for other days so that, when you average it all out, I was pretty much close to being, 100% as best I could. So it wasn't about being mean or punishing myself. It was about enjoying the process and making it empowering, making it exciting, and reaping all the beautiful benefits from doing this. Now, how did this challenge help me? And I'd say it helped me so much. So it created some amazing habits and gave me a beautiful sense of direction and structure, particularly to my mornings. I'm someone who really likes to get a lot of things done in the first half of the day so I can take my foot off the gas and relax a bit. And for someone who has ADHD, that is something I find really, really helpful. If I just try and get as much done and then I can kind of let my brain go a bit wild, after 1 o'clock. Of course, obviously, going from someone who does exercise 2 to 3 times a week, going to exercise 6 days per week, wow, I felt so much stronger. I looked so much leaner and toned, and my posture is so much better. Also, from my journaling, which I will say, it was the one where I was like, really? Journaling? Like, oh, that's so not me. That probably had the biggest and best uplift for me. I didn't realize how much journaling helps get the clutter, the noise, the anxiety out of your head and body down onto paper, where you get a sense of perspective and you can just release it all. And I felt mentally a lot happier and a lot calmer. And my handwriting from journaling every day improved out of sight. In fact, I would even go as far as saying my handwriting is actually really beautiful and really elegant now after journaling every single day. I also noticed that I felt way more creative. I am someone who gets, very easily inspired anyway, but I would get this wave of inspiration where 10 ideas would hit me at one time. In doing this challenge, I found that my creative ideas came to me consistently, but in a gentle flow throughout the day rather than just literally, having 10 ideas being catapulted into my brain at the same time. It was like there was a beautiful flow or rhythm of ideas coming to me throughout the day consistently. I also felt whilst doing this challenge, a lot more emotionally resilient. as you may know from my socials, my king, my big baby Giuseppe, my chocolate Labrador, he actually passed away towards the end of this challenge. And, he is someone who has been through with me everything. And he was 12 years old, and he's helped me get through severe postnatal depression, post-traumatic stress syndrome. He was actually my profile picture on Happen, which is was the old online dating website when I met Tom. And he sadly passed away from cancer. He went downhill very quickly, and it was absolutely heartbreaking, and I'm still really impacted by this. But I think from doing this particular challenge and very much so incorporating the Jamie Ryder Rising Phoenix program as part of this challenge for me, it made me a lot more mentally resilient. And I will make a separate episode about the Jamie Ryder mindset program because I think it was really powerful, but particularly important for people who need to get therapy but can't afford it right now. So I'm going to do a completely separate episode about that. So make sure you're obviously following this show because I promise I will get this episode for you as soon as physically possible. But in doing the Jamie Ryder program, I did between 5 to 20 minutes a day as part of this 75 challenge, the Jamie Ryder program. And one of the things was you had to write 75 blessings in disguise of a particular trauma or event in your life that was holding you back. Now, because I completed the Jamie Ryder program within this challenge, when I finished it, and obviously this happened to Giuseppe, I decided to take that exercise of 75 blessings and apply it to Giuseppe. And I think I'm up to, so far 35 blessings from Giuseppe. And, it's a beautiful skill that I've learnt that I've incorporated back into this challenge. So, and it's definitely helping me get out of that hole of sadness and grief and heartache, that comes with losing someone that means so much to you, to stepping into a place of gratitude. Or I'm so lucky to have had such a beautiful bond with this animal. I'm so lucky to have had him in my life for, 12 years. I'm so lucky for all the wonderful things that he taught me and he taught my children. And I'm so lucky to have him by my side, helping me raise 3 young children as well. So, if for me, incorporating a strong element of personal growth rather than just health and fitness was really valuable. I'd also say that doing this challenge has given me a great sense of confidence and self-worth. 75-day challenge, it's a lot. There are so many distractions. There are so many temptations. There are days where it was pouring with rain. I think it rained for 5 days straight. And I still exercised every day, even if it meant putting on a raincoat and exercising outside. And or it meant having to, if I was really tired and hadn't had a chance yet to do exercise, I still do my exercise at 8 p.m. at night on the, living room sofa in front of the TV. So actually seeing myself doing this rather than talking about it and actually doing it honestly and it with, being really genuine about, I did do 35 minutes because I set the timer. I didn't cheat. I didn't round my minutes up or anything like that. It really did improve my sense of confidence and self-worth. And even Tom said, I'm so proud of you doing this. I can't believe you actually did the whole 75 days. Also, I would say in doing this, and I think it's because I had a strong balance towards the personal growth side, I feel a lot more calm and a lot more organized, which is something, as for my ADHD, was really valuable. It's allowed me to see I actually need to do more work around my organizational skills to help manage my ADHD better. Now, I know I'm selling this and it sounds amazing and great, but I also want to share with you the downsides of doing this as well as the risks. Now, when I was doing this, I actually injured my knee. I don't know what I did to it. Tom's been treating it for me, but I think from going from doing exercise 2 to 3 times a week to 6 times a week, my body, I'm getting old, I'm getting achy, and my joints aren't the same, but my knee really hurt. And even with my knee hurting, I didn't give up. I just pivoted. I did a different style of exercise. Instead of doing the bike, I would do more weights lying down and focus on core stability and so forth. So I worked around it, but I wouldn't have injured myself if I wasn't doing this challenge. I would also say there is a negative impact on your mental health if you have overcommitted and you agree to do this and put it out there and then realize, actually, this is unrealistic. I can't possibly do this in my lifestyle, because then you'd feel really bad about yourself. You'd have obviously a negative impact on your mental health. I would also say that there were elements, and this wasn't so much for me, but it was definitely for my au pair, where she started to feel like, oh, I really don't want to go and exercise. And I felt like that time as well. But if you're doing the same type of exercise over and over again, you could fall out of love with that particular exercise. Too much of the same thing is never great. The other thing I would say that's negative about this is a diet of your choice under the official Hard 75 rules. That sounds a bit flaky. Is that healthy? Is that a balanced diet? I really question that. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a doctor. I don't work in fitness and industry, but to me, I'm like, I think there could be some clearer boundaries, maybe around that. Also, drinking 4.5 liters of water, I think, like everyone needs to go and do their own research, but there is quite a bit of studies about obviously over diluting your body of all the electrolytes from drinking too much water. And, the other thing with this is it is hard to sustain. Like, if you're going to do this challenge, you've got to sort of look at what your calendar looks like for the next 75 days. Doing this during school holidays, if you've got kids, can be hard. Or if you're going away on holidays, this could be really hard. Or if you've got lots of social events coming up where you've got late nights, or that you're going to be at an event where you'll want to have a glass of wine, this could be hard. So you really need to make sure you time this at something that's right for you. Now, I'm actually thinking of doing this all over again. And I'm actually going to invite you to join me and do this together. So I want to do another version, a soft version, and I'm going to call it 75 CANNA. And this is what I'm thinking of doing. And it's 6 35-minute training sessions per week, like I previously did. But one of those training sessions can actually be 35 minutes of stretching. I realize that my body is old and achy. Maybe 6 is a bit too much for my body and my joints. So I have a day off to recover, but also I have a day off to recover, but I'm still technically doing exercise because I'm doing 35 minutes of stretching. And I did this the other day, and I was like, when I finished, I was like, gosh, my body actually feels really good after stretching. It was like my body was like thanking me, because I'm someone who goes to the gym and exercises straight away. I'm irresponsible, not properly warming up, and I'm also too impatient that when I finish my workout, I don't stand there and stretch for 5 minutes like I should. I pretty much, jump in the pool or walk out the door and get on with my day. So I think adding this, component of one of those 35-minute sessions being stretching is great for me. The other thing I'm thinking of doing as a rule is adding in an area that I need to either organize, tidy, or declutter. So what I'm thinking is each day I have to find one area in my life. So it might be a drawer, it might be a cupboard, it might be something in my bathroom, it might be my makeup kit, it might be something even in an area in my car where I have to declutter, tidy, or reorganize. So just targeting one small area once a day. It's going to take me anywhere between 1 minute to 5 minutes. I'm definitely going to keep in the journaling because I love this. This was a really beautiful exercise, and I'm really in admiration of my own handwriting, if I don't say so myself. Next is reading 10 pages or 10 minutes of reading each day. I definitely want to keep doing this. There are so many books I've bought, and I haven't had a chance yet to read. And it actually felt really good finally progressing through my list of books that I've bought. And, I think I knocked off maybe 4 books during the 75 challenge, which felt amazing. And I found that I've been able to articulate myself in a lot more, cohesive manner since reading more. So I definitely want to stick to that. And that's a non-negotiable. I also want to add in an element of either financial goal work or financial goal manifesting work, where I spend the morning rereading my financial goals, or I spend my morning manifesting my goals. So I might do some affirmations around my financial goals, or I might do some visualization around my financial goals. So just literally spend 2 to 10 minutes maybe looking at my financial goals or doing something around my financial goals. And there might be something like, okay, well, I'm going to transfer $100 to a $1,000 project, or I'm going to review my budget for 10 minutes. It's something that is in alignment to my financial well-being and my financial journey, and of course, including the $1,000 project as much as possible. And then finally, what I'm thinking for doing this 75 CANNA challenge is eating 5 vegetables per day. Now, this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but I don't eat enough vegetables. I eat plenty of fruit, but I just don't eat the recommended daily intake of vegetables, being 5 vegetables per day. And I would really like to have a go at consciously and intentionally ensuring that I have 5 different vegetables per day. Even if it's just, a couple of celery sticks or carrot sticks, or, half a tomato on a sandwich. I'm still going to count that, but I want to really increase the amount of fiber I'm getting from vegetables. So that is what I'm thinking of doing. And I'm going to start this on the 9th of June, and it will finish around towards, I think I worked it out to be finish around the 24th of maybe August for that full 75 days. And I would absolutely love for you to join me in this challenge. Now, I've shared with you what I'm thinking of doing, and I'm going to put on social media these rules so you can refer to them. But I would love for you to come up with your own rules as well. What I'm doing for me may not necessarily work for you, or you may actually think it's too soft, or you may actually think it's too hard. But what I would recommend you do as you're thinking about your 75 rules, think about what you need to improve in your life. For example, you might really relate to that feeling of being overwhelmed and disorganized and having too much clutter around you and mess and just mayhem. So my idea of spending 10 minutes a day tidying, decluttering, or reorganizing one area of your life might really appeal to you. But you might be someone who's actually got that area of your life completely sorted and down pat, so doing that wouldn't actually add value. Perhaps there's something else in your life. Perhaps there is a course that you haven't completed or something you've been putting off for a long time that you can go, all right, I'm going to put 10 minutes a day towards getting that completed. Or perhaps you'd like to write a book, but you've never actually sat down and got it done, or you got maybe 2/3 of the way and you stopped. Maybe this is the perfect challenge for you to help you get back on top of that particular project, task, challenge, and complete it with the goal of having it completed and wrapped up within that 75-day challenge. Invest time thinking, all right, where do I need improvement in my life? And see if you can create a rule around that is gentle, empowering, and small, like bite-sized small, so that you can habit stack it and have a great success and breakthrough at the end of those 75 days. Now, why am I doing all of this all over again? Like, when I told my au pair I'm doing it all again, I'm restarting, she was like, why? Why? You've just finished. Why would you go and do this all over again and do this to yourself? I was like, well, I'm actually feeling so proud of myself. And I have never, well, not for a really long time, since I think it was in my 20s, that I've actually looked like I'm in better shape and felt proud of how much more toned I look. I also feel like I could benefit from particularly this, I guess you could say this minimalism or reorganizing, decluttering my life right now, because my ADHD has gotten a little bit out of control. And I think this will be a way of managing my ADHD without having to increase my ADHD medication. And I've still got a lot of books that I want to get through. I want to make sure I get through those books, and I want to prioritize my manifesting work and my manifesting skills with more intention and on a regular basis in alignment to my financial goals. And I really want to see how far I can go with my manifesting work. I've had some amazing breakthroughs. I want to keep going and see where this goes. And I mean, eating more vegetables, I don't think I know a single person who doesn't need to eat more vegetables, to be honest, of course, unless you are a vegetarian and you're a strict vegetarian. So that is what I've been doing. This challenge cost me absolutely nothing. This challenge definitely has transformed my life, and it's given me something that money can't buy. And I love that it cost absolutely nothing, and it's been a lot of fun, and I've loved talking about it. I've loved receiving questions about it, and I've had so many people ask me to make this podcast explain what I've been doing and why. So now I've done all those things, but I've also explained to you how to do this for yourself. So as I wrap up today's episode, I want to invite you to do this. I want you to come up with your own 5 rules And I don't want anyone to punish themselves. Please don't do this and think, well, if I skip one day or didn't complete something successfully or all the things successfully, I have to restart again. No. That rule doesn't exist with this one. And I would love for you to share on social media, tag me and everything, and hashtag 75CANNA, because I would love for us to all inspire each other, motivate each other, and see how we all look and feel on the other side of this. And for anyone that is actually interested, and I feel a little bit weird sharing this, but my au pair, when I started, she made me take a picture of myself. And I'm not someone who does that, like takes a picture of myself to do a point of comparison, but she insisted I did. Anyway, I did do it. And then I'm so glad I did this, because I only took the one at the beginning, and then I took one at the end, and I compared, and I put them side by side, and I was really impressed because I actually couldn't see those changes myself, because obviously, you don't really notice those little improvements every day in your physical appearance. But when I could compare between before and after, wow, I was really taken aback by how much more toned I looked. And it was just little things here and there. But anyway, so I will go and share that before and after. Maybe it might act as a form of like motivation or inspiration to do this yourself. Again, please note that this is not about a materialistic physical challenge. It's actually about personal growth and development, living our best lives and learning how to create new habits in our lives that will take us to better places, happier places, and allow us to live with more richness, more security, more stability, and more harmony. All right, that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to seeing and hearing from you on social media, on Instagram, and I really hope you'll be part of hashtag 75CANNA. Ciao for now.